Mm-hmm.
What's up, family? I'm Juan Castillo, and when I'm on social media, my favorite show to watch is the Don't Shoot the Messenger weekly podcast. Chris G, Professional Sutton, Rucker Report delivers sports the way it's supposed to be, real and authentic. So get ready to be entertained. My boys are ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, the Rucker Report, a.k.a. Jerry.
Ready? This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished.
This is Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.
X about me, X about me.
With Professional Sutton.
You already know.
Chris G.
My homie.
And the Rucker Report.
My family, what up?
They for real.
All straight with no chaser.
Let the games begin.
Let's go. Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.
You. Sharing this to everybody. Everybody hit that share button. Welcome to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
I'm your boy, Chris G.
It's your boy, the Rucker Report.
And we got some sponsors that we want to thank today, man. First and foremost, we want to thank Uncle Juan, man, and from 94.3 WYBC,
the rhythm of the city.
Also, we want to thank Inspire Rentals. Yes, if you're thinking about having your next party, why not that porta potty? And if you want to make sure your party is good, you'll do that by dialing 475-221-1598. That's Inspire Rentals to make your party better. Fellas, it's so good to see you guys and have you guys on the mic. We got a fun-filled day. We're going to be talking about some NBA, NCAA, and also we're going to talk about some NFL because, they unbothered over there. They unbothered. They don't care. The show must go on. But we're going to start off. Before we start, I want to ask y'all, fellas, how y'all doing, man? How y'all doing? What's going on?
Oh, man. It's great to be on the mic with my bros, man. The last time we were together, man, we was just keying and cutting up. And I enjoyed it. Shout out to my boy Quet, man, turning the big 3-6. Yes, I know that's a long time for you, bro. You've been 3-6 in about 10 years, but man, shout out to my boys.
Having a great time. Oh, we also got shout out Myra, she in the building. TC, what's going on?
Yes, sir.
Dot, what up?
Man, that's in the building. Ruck, man, so I hear that you got yourself you acting like Pistol Pete father over there, man. You got my nephew working out at the crack of dawn doing suicides, man. And
listen,
what's going on, man?
Listen, man, I told you it's about to go down. When he turned 5, it's a wrap.
Okay.
It's a wrap. He got a good 2 weeks left in his childhood. Before we get to his work.
Get him jumping!
Down!
That's how you do it. Do it. So listen, man, again, if you don't know, this is Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast, but we're going to jump straight into it. NCAA football, man. NCAA football. We got some teams out of the, Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever you want to call it, Pac somebody. They're postponed. Well, they're postponing, play in fall sports. Also, you got the Big 10, Big 12. Was it Big 12, Chris? Right? Big 12.
Big 10. It's the Big 10 with 12 teams.
Yeah.
I know it's dumb. It's dumb, but yeah, Big 10 with 12 teams.
They say, we're gonna put a kibosh on that. And then you got the ACC coming out, saying, hey, we think it's safe that you should play. We'll have more, parameters around you playing. We'll actually test more than the students who are at these facilities. Also, he's a doctor from Duke, so I guess that makes him qualified. So, with that being said, I know Chris called me. His gears were grinding. He was like, I want to talk about this NCAA stuff. So I said, brother, I got you. But before that, we also got some players that want to play, like, some big names out there. Some Heisman candidates. You got Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. Like, listen, we want to play. But with that being said, my brother Chris, what do you say about that, man?
I mean, first of all, don't do it for the gram. My gears wasn't grinding about this. I just put this out here that we need to talk about it.
I'm just saying. I just thought that you wanted to talk about it. You know what I mean? You're like, okay.
I tell you, my gears were grinding about a story I wanted to talk about last week with the NFL and their signing away, like when you could opt out of the season and stuff like that. But whatever. I'll say this. I think as far as this whole, college football stuff is going, at the end of the day, I think they're being safe, and I don't have a problem with it. I've been seeing a lot of, sports talking heads and people that grown adults that's going to lose money if these kids don't play. I've been seeing them have a real problem with the decision that the Pac-12 and the Big Ten made today. But I honestly, I don't really see a problem with it. I don't think anybody should play. Just honestly, and I want to see football. And obviously, in my hierarchy of teams, Ohio State is at the top, the tippity top. And I wanted retribution for the travesty that happened to us last year in the bowl game. So, look, man, don't nobody want to see the Buckeyes play more than me. And I know all of those young men want to get out on the field. I know they do. But, look, man, nobody knows the long-term effects of COVID right now. There's a lot we don't know. And right. You know what? As far as I'm concerned, one life can't be lost over trying to get this season played. Not one.
Agreed.
Not one. So even if they are being a little, I will say that I feel like they're being a little too precautious. Like, you had a plan. You're a month out from, when you were going to start. Just kind of see where it's at. But you know what? I listen, and I got a dog in the fight, but they got my full support, man. And I feel sorry for those young men because I know they want to be on the field. I know they don't care. When I was their age, I felt invincible every day. I just started feeling invincible, stopped feeling invincible 5 years ago. I know it's been like 20 for rough. So I get it. I get it. No, but seriously, I know they want to play, and I know it's a hard joint, and I don't know what some of those kids are going to do that are kind of in between of, are they good enough to go to the pros? Was this going to be the year that they showed off to actually get drafted? Do they even want to go back to school for another year if they get eligibility? Listen, I know it's a cluster. I ain't going to say the other word because I'm trying to be monetized on YouTube.
Here you go. Okay.
I know it's a cluster. I don't feel bad for the adults. Y'all been getting paid for years. I don't care if y'all miss out on the check. I really don't. But for the kids and, in their journey of trying to take the next step to possibly go to the NFL, I really feel bad for those kids. But you know what, man, safety first. When you're older, the adults are supposed to be adults and say, man, listen, I understand you want to go, but if I wouldn't let my kid do it, I'm not about to put other people's kids in jeopardy of potentially, getting sick and it getting worse. No need to do it. I'm fine with it.
Well, I know that Joe Burrow, he said that if this would have happened last year to him, he said that he probably would have just got a regular job because he don't feel that he had enough tape out there to be a first rounder or to be in the NFL as high as he did last year. Now, Ruck, seeing all this NCAA stuff, what do you make of it? Do you think that they should postpone it, or do you think that they should be like, you know what, just do what you can,
I think they're gonna do what they can, and I think the Power 5 conferences are still talking about their possibilities of playing and not wanting to be a part of everybody else is kind of opting out. It, to me, with football right now is so much of an unknown. I think what gives a lot of the other sports chances is what's been happening in the NBA bubble, because there have been no positive tests for over a month. This gives some sports franchises hope. But I think what the NFL has to deal with is the same thing that Major League Baseball has to deal with. There's going to be travel. And because there's going to be travel and things of that nature, it throws another variable into the pot. And when that does, you see just with baseball, there's been a lot of positive tests. Football is a sport that you're going to have even more contact and more proximity than there would be in baseball, even without no fans. So we'll see what happens. I mean, these are kids. I know they want to play. Like Chris said, 42 years ago when I was their age, what I mean? It was different. You know what I mean? You feel a little different. But when your body, start hurting when you get out to bed in the morning, you take things a little bit differently. So I know a lot of people want to see college football, but will we hurt by missing it and keeping these kids safe? No. I would always err on the side of these student athletes, because even if they're trying to get to the league and stuff like that, there are people that are going to take these kids anyway, because the NFL is always going to look for more talent. So putting themselves at risk, it's a global pandemic, people. It's a global pandemic that there right now for the foreseeable future, there's no answer. So is it really that important?
Right. I feel that they should just cancel it. Again, I think that Chris and I, we talked briefly, and we said, okay, if you put it to the spring, then what happens to the fall season? When do you have time to recuperate? When do you have time to get the training? And Chris made a valid point. He said, even if you were to do that, okay, if you want to do that with college players, with pro athletes, that's cool, because they get paid. But then we talk about, where do we compensate these players? How do we do that? And it's funny because, we talk about all the time, and we always say that, oh, these are student athletes. Even when a lot of these guys want to have their own unit, it's like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just students, whatever. Now, all of a sudden, you got some of these players wanting to play. Now, here go Dabo Swinney and them, like, we got to listen to the players. Okay? These players are important. Okay? Why not listen to the players? Because they're the reason we are here. So if they want to play, god dang it, we're going to play. And I was listening to that old Jerron.
But when they tell you that somebody called them the N-word, well, listen, they're kids. They get overworked about certain things. Yeah. And they listen to that, go ahead, rap music.
Yeah,
that says those words. So I don't know.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
Because last week is a kid out of Washington State. I forgot his name. Randall. Shout out to Randall. He told me about it. Before the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever, whatever. Tupac. I don't give a damn. Before they.
Oh man, monetize.
I'm sorry.
Words.
Sorry. You can say damn. You just can't say that stuff. Right. Before they postponed, the Washington State coach asked his player. He was like, "Hey, coach, I don't feel safe. I don't have sickle cell anemia, but I have the trait, and I want to support, my fellow athletes." And so the coach turned to him and said, "Is that what you really want to do?" He said, "Yes, I do." And the coach said, "Okay, make your decision." A day later, this player was cut. So you still have coaches who are still looking at these players as just numbers. And like Chris said, we should not lose near one player because of the greediness. Now, again, I know football and sports in general, casualties happen at times like heart disease and, different things that are unforeseen. But if you're going to get people on the field, and if you say, like you said, right, this is a global pandemic. And if we have one player die, that's too much because of this, regardless of what you feel about COVID. If you're saying it's as dangerous as it is, then why are we having these discussions? Then we need to treat it as such. So
I'll tell you one thing. There's one thing that you can't deny about, two things that you can't deny about COVID. The first thing is it's highly contagious.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's more contagious than just about anything that we deal with on a normal basis. It's more contagious than the common flu. You know what I mean? And not to mention flu season is right around the corner.
Mm-hmm. And you got to fight for that in the play too.
You got to fight for that too. So, you don't want somebody to come down with the flu and COVID. I mean, that won't be good. Mm-hmm. I think they need to think about that as well. But two things. The first one is it's highly contagious. That's just not a debate. That's an actual fact. It's highly contagious. The second thing, and the more troubling thing about COVID, is we still don't know what the long-term effects are of COVID. We just don't. Listen, you might be asymptomatic now, and it might not matter, but we don't know if that'll manifest itself into something different, into something worse. And if you think about it, and I'm biting this off of somebody, and I can't remember who it was. They were talking about it earlier. If you think about when players in the NFL knew about concussion, when they knew it was a bad thing, they still wanted to play. Mm-hmm. But then further down the line, all right, when you got a little bit older and perspective came into your life, and the way you felt in your later years mattered more. It was like, yo, I made a bad mistake. And for a grown man in the NFL to have to, deal with that later on in his life, those are some grown man decisions that you got to deal with.
Right.
But for young kids that are not getting compensated fairly to have to make a decision on something that they won't know the long-term effects of until they're later in their life, I don't think it's the right move. I just don't. So I'm fine with them erring on the side of caution. I can't stress that enough. And I know that we're in the minority on this because I've seen it. I've been listening to radio. I've been watching shows. But I would stress people to realize that these people's jobs are in the running if there's no football. That's why they have a vested interest in sports being on TV, because that's their money maker. Mm-hmm. Especially Fox Sports, who directly deals with the Big Ten. All Big Ten games are on Fox except for primetime games. All Big Ten games. So, of course they're going to fight hard advocates. They brought Urban Myers on Colin Cowherd today to talk about how, to just fight the good fight. They're talking about Justin Fields, who I love. Like, he's the best ambassador now for NCAA football, right? Because they want to push that narrative, because it's directly involved with their stream of money. So I would like to ask these guys who are getting on radio or are getting on their popular TV shows, who are saying that they don't think that they think that the Big Ten is acting too quickly, or they think that the Pac-12 is acting too harshly and they need to wait and give it time. I wonder if they would be honest with themselves and say that they're more concerned with how it's going to affect their pockets than they are with the health of these young student athletes.
Wait, I have a question.
Now take that for data.
Now I have a question for you, Chris. Did they ask Urban Myers, when you had your heart attack, why didn't you keep playing? Why not, Urban? When you were stressed at Florida and you couldn't play because of family issues, why didn't you just push through it? Huh? Why didn't you just push through it? I'm just wondering. But again, like you said, they are vested. They need these sports because that's how they generate revenue, things of that nature. Now, president, he went on air and he said,
say what?
I just had a message. He said he believes that the players should continue to play. Like college players should play. You know, they're young, and you know, he said they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Ruck, I see your face, man. You know, what you guys say about that, man?
So again, instead of Gatorade, he wants them to drink bleach. Like we good on him. I don't even want to entertain that. Next topic.
How about for you, Chris? Do you want to talk about
Nope.
Okay. All right.
You know what? Hold on. I give you something. Shout out to
Right.
Kamala Harris. Nice job on the DP pick. There you go. There you go. That's all I got for you.
Okay.
That's it.
I'm gonna turn to NFL right now. NFL, they saying that listen, it's gonna happen. You know, I people keep asking me, hey, do you think that the NFL is going to happen because NCAA can't? I said, listen, the NFL will happen. It's happening. They're already losing millions of dollars. It's happening. People are preparing. People are getting ready. Again, and I'm gonna resort to what Chris said. They're getting paid to play. So you know the risk. Some players are opting out, and that's cool. But they are going to have an NFL season, people. You don't have to worry about that. Now, Chris, you said that you wanted to talk about something that happened in the NFL last week. You know, you still talk about it. You there, Chris? I don't think he's there. Oh, so Ruck, man, NFL happening. How do you feel about it?
Well, one of the problems that I had with the NFL.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. You got me?
Yep.
Are you there? Johnny,
Yep.
Johnny, you got me? Am I good?
Well, do it live.
What I was going to say is the problem that I had with the NFL last week, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was August the 5th or August the 4th, was the deadline for players to make a decision if they wanted to opt in or out of the NFL season. And it was, again, and this is what always gets me upset about NFL players. Once again, they got taken advantage of, and once again, they had bargained a collective agreement when the COVID stuff started breaking out. Early when it started breaking out, they put in writing that they would have some time to kind of see. They would have some time to make a decision. Also in that contract, the NFL had the option to speed up the deadline to an earlier date for when they could and couldn't opt out, and they did, and they put it to, it was either August the 4th or August the 5th. And again, I was left scratching my head saying, how did they let the NFL take advantage of them again? How? Like, I just don't get it. How many times are they going to go to the negotiation table and get taken for a ride? Like, when is, what's it, Dolores Smith?
Mm-hmm.
When are they going to actually grow a pair and actually get some stuff that benefits them? Because, again, I feel like them having to make a decision on the season that starts in mid-September, in early August, is just not enough time. You need to see where it's going. You need to see how it's tracking. I mean, we all got jobs. We all see the United States boards on our clocking stations that say the states you can't go to, and it's only getting worse every week. And you got to make a decision as of last week whether you want to stay in or out.
Wow. Hey, Chris, real quick. Shouts out to T White. He said, how many full teams will have to opt out in order for the Jets to have a chance?
31.
I believe that is correct answer.
I take 31. I take 31 for 200, Alex.
Sorry, man. Sorry to oh man, it's a long road for you guys. So again, like Chris said, Ruck, these players, they scream, they holler, and Roger Goodell just takes advantage of them once again. Boom, bow, click, pow. What do you think, man? Like, should they have waited?
I mean, yes. The easy answer is yes, to see what was going on. But at the same time, like Chris he points out and makes it very clear. The players themselves put themselves in this position, if that makes any sense. Like, and the crazy thing that I find really ironic is that you have players like Odell coming out and saying, "Oh, the owners aren't treating us as if we're human," and blah blah blah. And the very next question they ask him, "Do you want to play?" Yeah, I'll be there. So why'd you even make the first comment?
Right.
Like, what was that about? Right. So I think again, this has always been over the last, and Chris has been talking about it over the last 2 years, but I would even say over the last 5, that the players union, the NFLPA, has made huge missteps on the part of their players, and they have not at any turn gotten a small piece of it right. So this is what they have to deal with, because at the end of the day, and this is the difference in professional football, right? It's always going to be a next man up mentality.
Yes, it is.
Right.
And
so
that's the problem.
It's not like some of these players that are opting out. Like, say, for example, you had 8 players on the Patriots opt out. We didn't know y'all anyway. Like, so, it really don't matter. And then with certain systems, they're going to just plug other people in. So the NFL is going to happen. How it happens, what happens in terms of safety is always going to be the concern, but the game is going to be played. It has its own day, people. I don't care who speaks out against not playing. They're going to have enough players to put the product on the field. And where everything is in terms of how everything is trending in society, people are going to watch. So the numbers are not going to go down tremendously. So it's going to survive. It's going to be at a different point where we look at it next year and say, okay, maybe if they have a different plan, if they're going to put something different in place, like the NBA, again, is ahead of the curve, because even where their conversations are right now, they're actively talking to Disney about buying more land down there. They're talking about 4 to 5 more bubbles on that campus at this time next year. They're already talking about plans for the 2020-2021 season to be a full season in the bubble with more options. So they're preparing. I mean, think about this. We're watching games and we're watching highlights. Yes, they're very different, but look at all the things and the technology that they have instituted to make the game seem almost normal. New cameras, the vision boards that they have, not vision boards, but the live boards that they have surrounding the court with fans, interactive and things like that. So it's other ways that people are going to be able to make money off the sport. And again, the NFL, it's $1 billion industry. Exactly. It will happen. It has its own day of the week. It's going to happen. Now, if players want to take more safety concerns, they need to. But again, they need to do something different with the NFLPA, man. They need a new president to be more responsive. The NFLPA, in my opinion, has always been reactive. It's never been proactive.
Can't disagree with you on that, man. I'm trying to send Nick. Hey, Nick, what you can do is check your inbox and then you could join in. You can come on in, man. Come on in. Now, Rock, listen, I agree with what you're saying. I think that this is why the NFL is so stagnant, because they are so reactive. They always talk shit about Roger Goodell. They always talk about how they don't get this, how they don't get that. But then when it's time to act, like Chris said, it's like, no. We're gonna play. Like, you got to stand somewhere, because what's gonna happen is once that NFL player agreement bargain, the NFL bargaining agreement is up, they're going to negotiate for $10 more, not $10 an hour more, $10 more. And then they're going to say, hey, we were getting robbed again. You have to know your limits. You have to know when to hold them and when to fold them. But I think that in this time, again, this is why the NFL goes for these type of players. They go for players who are from impoverished areas. And I don't want to get on my high horse again, but this is why they do it, because they know they can get away with it. They know that they can get a player to play for Let's just say that everybody opt out. Like, yo, listen, we we ain't even playing. They're still going to get players to play.
But there's a difference in that, Quet.
Sure. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but I'm just saying there's a difference in that because if the players themselves collectively, if everybody came together just like they did for the Black Lives Matter campaign, right? If they made a collective push like that, even where things are with the players union, there would be some type of change or response because the NFL seeing a major unified front like that is going to have to respond. Right now, you have people that are in different splinter cells that are talking, but there's no unified front. Again, I keep going back to the NBA, but again, they have say what you want about Chris Paul, right? As a player, if he's crybaby, if he's been telling on people in the bubble, whatever. But one of the big things that has come out this week is that the NBA's player union, their effort to work with the NBA on putting that $300 million back into the community, back into different organizations, back into people of color, all minorities getting different opportunities in the NBA. And they said that was a major linchpin in them coming to the bubble. And that's because they all came together.
Right. It's different.
So it's different, but if they made the same unified front, because if you're talking about a player strike, right, where we have seen the NFL do before and they had to play with replacements, listen, it's going to be just like the movie. It's only going to last for so long before they want to see their favorite players play again. And the NFL will have to make a move. But who is courageous enough to do that? And who is the leadership that can help guide them? Because Mr. Smith ain't been doing nothing.
No. Now, speaking of guiding, we got my man, the mad scientist in the building, Nick.
Yeah.
Him and Chris are Big Ten, foes, and they tend to go at it at times. Nick,
at times.
How are you, Chris? Could you say hello to your boy Nick? Let me see if I can take him. There you go, Chris. Chris probably working.
What's going on, Nick?
Hello, Chris. How are you, sir?
So I want to say thank you for joining us tonight, Nick. I know you wanted to chime in. So you were talking college football earlier, and then we jumped to NFL. But take it away. What do you want to chime in on today, sir?
When the Big Ten and Pac-12 decided to say no mas for this year, it made me start thinking as to what is now going to happen when you crown a national champion, considering the fact that right now you don't have two members of the Power Five, you do not have one member of the Group of Five in the MAC, and you're going to have a fall football season and you're going to have a spring football season. So this got me thinking, what would happen if not the schools, but the players of said schools, say Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, UCLA, USC, what if they decide to band together and, I don't know, go to court, sue the NCAA, sue their respective conferences saying, no, we want to play? Because let's not forget there was a very big movement on social media with the hashtag We Want to Play, and there were a lot of players that wanted to play. Jim Harbaugh and Ryan Day, both head coaches of two premier Big Ten schools in Ohio State and Michigan, actually joined in and We Want to Play. I'm torn because I understand where the Big Ten and Pac-12 are coming from. But then again, you got these kids that have been training hard, making sure that they are safe, doing everything humanly possible to make sure that there could possibly be a football season in the fall, and you rip it away from them. It's a very dicey and a very sticky situation for the Big Ten and Pac-12 to be in. He really is. The SEC, they said, we're playing. The ACC, they said, we're playing. Rumor has it right now from the Big 12, they're going to play. So where is really the disconnect here? Where is the disconnect? Considering the fact, if you think about it, the SEC, Florida, LSU, Alabama,
Southern states,
Auburn, Missouri, these teams are in states that have been hit hard by the coronavirus. You look at the Big 12, Texas, Oklahoma, right off the bat. They've been hit hard by coronavirus. Now, I understand there's a lot of liability involved. Thank you, Terrence.
Yes.
There is a lot of liability involved, and I totally get that. But in the end, if the kids want to play, and if the kids want to be on the field, whether with or without fans, let the kids play. They're taking it upon themselves. They understand what the risk could possibly be. Now, again, Terrence, you have to understand, NFL are playing games without fans. I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC, they play games without fans as well. Is it a hit to the revenue? Oh, my God. It's disgusting. It really is. Schools are going to be hurt and hurt hard because there's going to be no revenue coming into these games. But for the little sense of normalcy that we have left in 2020, and there's not much, I'll be bluntly honest, there's not much left of normalcy in 2020 anymore. But if it can be done, and if three of the five conferences saying it can be done, it's like the yin and the yang. That's where we're at right now. It really is.
Well, I mean, I like what you're saying. Really, I do. But I think at this point, we need to really look at the safety of the kids, because I think moving forward, yes, these kids want to play, right? You got kids who wanted to graduate. You got kids who want to be in school. They want to show, other academias like, hey, I should be going Ivy League, and those are the things that, matter. But I think that when we talk about sports and we talk about a global pandemic, this is not just a speculation. This is a global pandemic where the world is being shut down because of this. And I think that we should take it as what it is. Yes, would we like to see sports? Of course we would. But I think we can also put a kibosh on that and say, hey, there will be a time and a place. And what the NCAA should do is they should come up with the NFL and say, hey, how can we help the kids get eligible? What can we do to help these kids that we know would have been X, Y, and Z? I don't know. But there should be something in place to help these players if they want to showcase their talent. Again, showcasing their talent, these are the things that are only going to sustain them for what? If they, let's just say they make an average player 3 or 4 years versus being sick. And like Chris said, not knowing the long-term effects of this virus. So I see what you're saying, Nick. I would love to say, yes, let's play ball, but I think they should just shut it down. They should
let me jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Just jump in real quick.
Took the mute off. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to say, always love talking with Nick.
Oh,
we always love talking about the Buckeyes, don't we, Nick? But anyway,
look at his face. Now we can see his face now.
But what I was gonna say is 2 points that he brung up. One is about the kids saying they want to play. All kids want to play, and I, for me personally, and this is just my personal opinion, I need the adults in the room to say, "Listen, I know you want to play, but I think I know a little bit more than 18 to 22-year-old." Because at once upon a time, we were all 18 to 22. No, it's been a long time for Rock, not so long for me and Quay. But didn't make good, sound decisions from 18 to 22. And I would much rather have some adults in the room making that decision than kids. And I know they want to play. And it is unfair and unfortunate that they get hit with this, but I do think they should err more on the side of safety. The second point, and the point that I don't care about, is the school's taking a hit. Y'all been making money with free labor for years. If y'all don't got money stacked up, that's on y'all. Yeah. Y'all should listen. Y'all been getting free labor, big time games, $15 million BCS bowl games. If y'all money not saved up right, I got no sympathy for them colleges. Not even a little drop.
Counterpoint to what he said, and I'm glad you said that you need adults in the room to make the decisions for you when your own head coach, Ryan Day, pretty much comes out and says, I want to play. I want my kids to play.
He got vested interest in that, though.
I want to jump.
Nick, he got vested interest in that.
Georgia, LSU, Alabama, and Auburn because he wants to play. The same thing with Jim Harbaugh, your best friend, by the way, at University of Michigan, because we all know deep down inside you are.
Nick, you watch your mouth. You watch your mouth. You watch your mouth. This was a friendly conversation. It is no need to get personal here.
No, but you have to understand when Ryan Day actually came out and said that, I was like, wow, okay, maybe he does have a little bit of pull with his AD, with the president of the school and stuff like that. Obviously not, because James Warren just went to the podium, pretty much stuck up the two middle fingers at every single president going, you're not playing. Because let's be honest, Iowa and Nebraska said they have no problems. Ohio, Michigan, and Michigan State, their coaches said, let's do it. Their ADs were like, it's up to the presidents. The presidents were like, no. Everybody else, they pretty much fell in line.
Nick, though, I gotta jump in because of course Ryan Day's gonna want to play because he wants to get paid and he wants to get sent to the next level. Yes. And anybody involved in the athletic program is gonna want to play. I need an outside source. I need, again, presidents, people who listen, they're involved with the sports, but that's not their singular goal. They got a whole big thing. They got to worry about all of the student athletes. They got to worry about the reputation of Ohio State, not just in football. Those are the type of people that I need making the decisions because I can't say that I'm going to get a fair, objective decision from the AD or coach of any program.
Or the head coach.
Right.
So
I can't say that I'm going to get that.
So the thing is, you're never going to get a straight objective view from a player. The kids are what they are. They're kids, and they want to play a game. Like we know exactly what it is, right? But at the same time, think of this too. The NCAA has to respond in some fashion to make it seem as if they're making it safe for the kids to play, because again, their bottom line is affected if there is no college football, right?
Very true.
So, and listen, the one thing that they don't want to happen are also two small things that happened this week is you got Trevor Lawrence saying, listen, I do want to play, but I also want a player's union, right? You got the new sale of the XFL to Rock and some of his other business partners that happened. So there are other things that are bubbling. Listen, and me and Chris talk about this all the time. Listen, Ballers was not just a fictional show. They are making those type of moves. If you didn't realize what Rock did in the end of that show, and Chris, please help me out with this. He saw what he took on in the NCAA, and look where he's positioning himself now.
Right.
Can't you see the writing on the wall when the players are asking for a union, and then there's another competing league that can change their rules for admission, if you want to say? There's always going to be something that can be had. And again, the NCAA is in a position that for once, if they really wanted to double down on the fact that they call these kids student athletes, they think of their safety as students first.
So let me ask you this then.
There won't be students on these campuses watching these games.
So let me ask you this then. Now that we're probably going to have 2 football seasons.
Yes.
Let's be honest. We're going to have 2 football. We're going to have a fall football season. We're going to have a spring football season. Who's the national champion?
Florida.
Oh, no, that is up.
But
that's
you know
going
what
to be
the funny
Get
thing
out of
is
here,
about
Florida.
that? You know what the funny thing is about that, Nick? And I think you know it too because you said it. You have 2 football seasons. Who's going to be the national champion, right? Who wins in that anyway? The NCAA, because what can they do? Market another game.
I tell you what they should do.
Do you think basically then, and this is just me throwing stuff against the wall, do you think then what's going to end up happening is you're going to have not a fall winter national champion, but you're going to have maybe like a bowl game to determine who plays for the national championship in the spring after the Big Ten and Pac-12 get their seasons done. I'm trying to figure this one out because this one is either going to be an asterisk with 2 national champions, which is beyond me, or you're going to have to postpone the national championship game from January until at least, like March, April of 2021. Don't forget, and here's another thing, and Terrence actually brought up a very good point in the chat, is that, if this does happen, if they do have a national championship game in March, April 2021, do you think, say, Trevor Lawrence or any other top 5 athlete is going to want to play in this game when the NFL draft is going to be held late April, early May? You're running into some huge, huge implications here when it comes to something like this. That's why, personally, I feel we're going to see, quote unquote, 2 national champions because I can't see it working any other way.
Well, I think what they should do, and this isn't just in my humble opinion, but I think I'm right most of the time, so they should take heed. I think what they should do, and Nick, one thing, you're right. You're right. There is going to be any player that is going to be a projected 1st or 2nd round player, they're not playing in spring ball. So the cancellation of this fall season is their last season because you gotta save your good stock for the NFL. Ain't no need of you getting hurt a month before the draft and missing your first season. Yeah, we're not doing that. So that's problem number 1. I think you don't have to worry about seeing Trevor Lawrence or Justin Fields or any of the top guys in the spring version of football. The second thing they should do is this year's season should be treated as just bowl games. You just won a bowl game. You're not a national champion of anything because it just wasn't enough out there for you to be a national champion. So you are just the Sugar Bowl winner, the Rose Bowl winner, the Orange Bowl winner, whatever that may be. Now, what they should do in the spring, and I think this is very critical, they need to treat it like soccer. It needs to be this mid-season championship. And it can't be long either. It can't be long because you can't be killing these kids and playing a spring and then getting the summer off and coming right back in the fall to go 10, 11 games. You can't do that. So what I think you need to do is like a 16, you need to do like a 6-game schedule, but it needs to be loaded. We need to see the best playing the best. We need to see week 1, Ohio State versus LSU. Week 2, we need to interconference everything to determine a mid-season because listen, you can't play a full season anyway, and you're going to be shot of getting like this regular season national championship for the spring. So what you should do is now what you could do is go straight money grab, big game, and I mean big game after big game. Instead of having to, I think Ohio State plays Alabama the next time if we don't meet in like the championship in like 2028. That's how far they had to schedule that out to do a home and home. Now you don't need to do that. 6 games, hard hitting, and then and I mean a very small, 4-team tournament to decide who was this one-off national champion, just for this little thing, not a national champion, but just a champion of this particular, mid-season championship like they do in soccer, and then follow that right into fall football, and I think that would be a success. What say you, Nick?
But the problem with that is that it's only two conferences, and that's the Big Ten and Pac-12. Ohio State versus Oregon is very intriguing to me because, to me, those are the two best teams in each of their respective conferences. Then after that, you go from there and you do your five best intra-conference games. I mean, you're going to have Ohio State versus Michigan. You're going to have Ohio State versus Penn State. But that, I mean, if you really want to front load it, I mean, that's pretty much how it's got to be done. Now, it's just so unique and so crazy to even think about this that this is actually a talking point on how we're going to schedule games. There is this. Here's another thing. Distinct possibility is that Roger Goodell comes out and says, "I'm postponing the draft until June."
He won't do that.
To accommodate January
He might do that. He might.
A January to March season, because you could say spring football all you want. Spring football is like a couple of practices in March. To me, that's
Very
spring
true.
football. I got a funny feeling if they're going to go ahead and do conference games in which you're going to play 10 games or whatever it may be, season's going to start in January, season's going to end in March, your championship game, which, to be honest with you, may be the easiest championship that Ohio State would screw up ever in the history of sports, because I could just see that happening. Anyway, but no, in all seriousness, that's the only way I can see it. January, March, Big Ten champion, Pac-12 champion, spring champion.
Well, look, the only reason I even brought that up is because I fully expect for there to be roadblocks when the SEC and the ACC and the rest of the three remaining Power 5 schools try to play this regular season, because baseball has already shown us that teams are going to get sick. Multiple people, especially when you're dealing with this many players. I mean, baseball is something like, 25, 30 guys? And we're talking about a college football roster that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 65, 70 guys, a roster, and traveling from state to state. And listen, no shot at the South, but the reason that the South is doing so bad is because they see COVID as a political thing and not a real disease. I was almost about to cut. And not a real disease. So I can definitely see LSU getting sick one week, and maybe the week they got to play Alabama. And Alabama saying, we can't send our players to go play 27 sick LSU players. We can't do that. I can see games being canceled. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact games are going to get canceled just like they did with baseball, because a whole team is going to have to be quarantined, and then they're going to have to reschedule. And then they're not going to have the time to reschedule. And I can see this being a big cluster, and the rest of the Power 5 schools having to say, you know what? We tried. It couldn't work. We got to back out. But they're at least going to try, because football is goddamn.
Now, real quick, Nick, can you answer this question? So Stephen C. said, how are they going to know who the top picks are for the draft if they're not going to be playing the regular way?
Very simple. It's going to be the same thing like they do every draft. They're going to go to the game tape. They're going to go to, prior seasons to see how, what difference the player A was to player B. And the other thing that makes it more interesting for me this year is, since most of the games are going to be interconference games, they're not playing outside. They're not going out of conference. Everything's going to be in conference. So, stats may possibly be skewed a little bit, because you're not playing, say, Ohio State, Alabama. It's going to be Ohio State, Indiana, Illinois, Penn State, Iowa, Nebraska, Michigan State. They're going to run the whole gamut. So it's going to be very interesting to see what scouts do, how they compare it to other years, especially, for example, Justin Fields, if he has, say, a better year this year than he did last year, which will be amazing if that does happen. But how do you compare it as to last year when he had some marquee out-of-conference games? He's not going to have that this year. Mm-hmm. If he has one, he's going to have maybe one out-of-conference game, and that's for the quote-unquote spring championship against the Pac-12 team. Mm-hmm. Possibly Oregon, possibly USC. We don't know. So,
no way Justin Fields is playing in the spring season. It just ain't no way. And if anybody smart around him would tell him, kid, you don't need this. You don't need this. We don't need you getting hurt before the draft. I would tell him, Justin, if you're listening, don't do it. Listen, I love Buckeye. I want to win. But please, think about your future. Go to the NFL, sign a big contract. Don't you play no spring football. Don't you play no spring football. That wasn't on the agenda for you going into 2021. Don't do it.
All right, Marquette, I got to jump. So thank you for bringing me into this beautiful panel that you have over here. And really appreciate everything that you guys do for DSTM. My name is Nick Ficarelli. I am the mad scientist of sports. You can probably hear me on this podcast once in a blue moon going head-to-head with my good friend Chris about college football. And, well, that's pretty much it. I really ain't got nothing else going on right now except, trying to survive the wacky world of 2020 that we be living in right now. So thank you very much. Have a good night and talk to you all soon.
All right, man.
All right, Nick.
Talk to you soon. Sorry about that. My internet tripping, man. That was Nick, the mad scientist, on the check-in with us, man. Appreciate him. Now, I want to talk about the NBA, fellas. I want to talk about the NBA.
I don't want to talk about the NBA.
Nah, why not, bro?
I don't want to talk about the NBA until Chris do what he's supposed to do.
Listen, I don't care. There's no apology coming from Melo. I'm glad you stepped in the time machine and you jab step work
right now.
No. Block the shot. Play some Duke defense. Slap the floor until I see that again. And I cannot stress this enough. For the Portland Trailblazers to be a championship contender, we need a two-way wing. Not a one-way wing, a two-way wing.
Yes.
We need a Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and now, listen, Melo been doing okay. I'll give him that. But he ain't that. So, until I see that, I'm good. Listen, say what up to Lala for me.
Oh, I've been saying what up to a lot of people if you're watching the shot. But anyway, I don't want to spoil anything.
I'll watch the shot, but I heard you. Listen.
Listen.
Tell Keisha if it was me, you wouldn't have went out like that. I would have made sure Tasha didn't shoot.
Don DeMarco, Marco. Now,
hardcore New York.
Now listen, I've been watching NBA. And fellas, who the hell is TJ Warren? I mean, cause dude out there playing like MJ. I'm just saying.
If you don't know them cornrows, you better get familiar. That boy been a bucket.
Listen, he said Kawhi got the braids. I guess I might as well get him too. I thought braids would play after 2009. Listen, but I guess not, man.
TJ Warren, I've been a fan of TJ Warren since NC State. That boy been a bucket. You hear me?
Yeah, I remember when Duke was right on NC State.
Him and Jimmy Butler got something going on. He trying to be a gang member. I don't know what's going on there, but listen, TJ and listen, not to be slighted at all, but Devin Booker.
Ooh.
Shout out to Devin.
Hey, listen.
Shout out.
Listen. In my Shannon Sharp voice, don't do that now. Don't do. Hey, don't do my nephew like that now.
That boy
Hey,
right there.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on. If you drop the name, it's Dame time, okay? Okay? If they handed out MVPs, I want to know who got 2 50-point joints in the bubble. Dame.
Well, he had 61 tonight.
Listen.
I know he had 61, but I can't say he had 260. So we're going to go with 250. Okay?
Listen. The Phoenix Suns are 7-0 in the bubble. You know what I'm saying? Scratching and crawling to get that 8th seed. And Thursday, which is good because, you know, it's a 4-way tie. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm watching Thursday. By hook or crook, I'm watching Thursday because this is going to be
against Memphis, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be a playoff environment. I'm going to tell you this right now.
And Ja been about it in the bubble, too.
And that's where you're going to see the ground slapping Chris. And, because
let me tell you something.
That's
going to be the game where they're going to have to pump up the crowd noise because there's going to be a lot of cussing and a lot. There's going to be a lot of N-words flying around.
You're going to hear me. Me. Get the call off me. Nah. Move. I got him. You're going to see a whole lot of I got him.
It's going to be chippy. It's going to be chippy. And now you can bet your dollar on that. Bet your game dollar on that.
Stephen C said, shouts out to Stephen C. I'm glad he came back to us. You know, he could, see him again. He said, this is the first time Devin Booker led his team to over 30 wins in his career.
I don't think that's a fair statement.
Right.
It's fair. It's fair.
Or a fair assessment.
It's fair.
Yes. Yes. To his question.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's factual.
Right.
But I don't think it's fair because the Suns have never had real solid talent around him since he came into the league.
I mean, he don't got real solid talent now.
No, listen, that's what I'm saying. Like he doesn't have. Listen, and this is why Draymond got his little $50,000 fine the other day. Listen,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. But could you imagine Devin Booker with some real talent? Real talent.
Special. Could be. But I only know the Devin I've been seeing. I only know the Devin I've been seeing. The Devin I've been seeing is a loser. Now, can you change that?
Chris,
what happened?
No,
but he's been cooking though.
With that.
No, he'll been cooking. But hold on, listen. I want to give Devin props because he been balling in the bubble. But I ain't jumping on the Devin Booker train after 7 games in a weird bubble. Okay, like remember. If y'all remember, you got to rewind the clock a little bit. When the season started, Phoenix started off a little bit hot, and I hate to agree with this guy. I hate it because I just don't like him as a person. Kendrick Perkins was like, I don't believe it, and then the Suns became exactly what the Suns has always been, and they were at the bottom of the barrel when the bubble had to come up. So I mean. I just need a bigger sample size before I hop on the deep book train. That's all I'm saying.
Well, listen, I just want to say Stephen C. Cole, he said Devin Booker is a grim reaper. He always leads his team to the graveyard. Jesus, man. Come on.
Watching Stephen C. KD going to come after you.
Yeah.
The thing I always think about with Devin Booker, that I can't get out of my head, and he's going to have to do something amazing to get this out of my head, is when he was down by 20 in Boston, calling timeouts and fouling people so he can get 70. That irked me in a way that I remember to this day. Because, listen, it's an accomplishment to get 70, but not like that. Not like that. You don't foul people to stop the clock so you can get the 70. You don't do that. Not when you lose it. So, I think I have seen a mentality shift in the bubble, but I need to see it out of the bubble because again, we can all say this: the bubble has been weird. As great as it has been to watch basketball, the bubble has been weird.
we might not see nothing else but the bubble. So
Right.
True.
we might have to get used to this.
You might be right.
I mean, listen, I give credit where credit's due. I mean, I think that he is playing at the time where he's supposed to play. Now we can talk about what he didn't do, what he's supposed to do. You know, that's cool. I always like Devin Booker. I only got like 4 light-skinned people that I let in my life. So he's on a verge. But I would say, he is making the most of the situation, like a lot of young players should be. And that's why it's very interesting, because I think a lot of people was expecting Phoenix to just beat Phoenix and fall off and say, okay, that was, you got your 1 or 2 wins now, whatever. But now it's interesting. Now Thursday is going to determine a lot. It's really interesting.
Yeah, but think about it like this too, right? I don't know if y'all look at it this way, but there are a lot of teams in the bubble that should not be in the bubble.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, listen,
if they was looking at what the season was actually looking like, it's no way that you had Washington, Sacramento, and Phoenix in the bubble. It's no way. But the one thing that those teams did have subtracted to the bubble is star power, like Devin Booker, like a Bradley Beal if he played, things like that. So again, that's why, like you said, Devin is making the best out of his situation right now. So you got to appreciate that.
You got to.
But again, and I was going to say this to Chris earlier, like, yo, Dame is that dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's talk about it. Because Dame, stop running from the grind, you chumps. I love it. He about all that action. And I'm with him.
I'm with him too, man. Listen, we shout out to Henny. Me and Henny was talking about it earlier. I'm cool with him and Paul George going back and forth because Paul George is on his caliber. And you know what? I love it. I love to see it. I know it's all in fun and games and everything, so do that. But let me tell you something, okay? Patrick Beverly needs to shut the F up forever, okay? Yo, the audacity that for him to go 1, 2, 3 Cancun when you ain't never been out the second round and you ain't never been let me tell you something. On every team Patrick Beverly been on, he ain't never been the number 4. Okay? He ain't never been the number 4 guy. And listen, y'all know how I feel. Y'all know how I feel about Russell Westbrook. And I'm not a huge Russell Westbrook fan, but one of the realest things he ever said was
leave him alone.
Hold on, though. But one of the realest things Russell Westbrook ever said was Patrick Beverly trick job. He be out there running around doing a bunch of nothing. And he did. Man, it was the biggest facts Russell Westbrook ever said. Because Patrick Beverly, let me tell you, they always say Patrick Beverly is this lockdown defender. But every time he play against a elite guy and he pissed him off, he gets cooked. Kevin cooked him. Steph done cooked him. Dave done cooked him and sent him home. Stop it. Stop it.
Listen,
he be running around there doing a bunch of nothing.
Yo, the worst thing Paul George could have did was jump in on that conversation. Yeah. Bro, you're an NBA commercial. He made you a commercial.
Ruck, hold on. That was after his bad commercial where he said, ball game for the game of Detroit. And he ain't never made a go-ahead game-winning shot in his life. Get out of here, man. Get out of here.
Stop running from the grind, you chumps.
Come on, man.
Yo, I love it,
now,
man.
I do got a question, though. I do.
What? What up, bro?
Yeah, he is, man. Listen, so I do got a question. 2 teams I want to talk about real quick. OKC. I think that people need to put some respect on it. OKC out here playing like silent assassins, and it's just like, well, they got Chris Paul, so people disrespecting them. But also, when you talk about a team that's not supposed to be there, what's up with the Brooklyn Nets, man? I'm just saying, like they, you know,
They're the
they.
eighth seed.
I'm just saying, like you said, I know, but it's just like, again, are we seeing the curse of Kyrie? Every time Kyrie's on a team,
No,
not yet. No.
You're not. Listen, you're not gonna put this on Kyrie. I'm
No.
staying up for Jersey all day. Listen, Sean Marks made bad roster moves that left that cupboard completely bare, right?
Yeah.
So this is not a product of Kyrie and his world is flat stuff. This is not just a product of Kevin Durant not being there. This is a product of management not building a solid team around the pieces that they had. Listen, you lose D'Angelo, that's cool. Okay.
no,
You know
I
that's
was
gonna
saying
happen.
that. No, I was saying that Brooklyn holding their own a little bit. You know, they staying steady with the A spot, man.
Oh, they're a scrappy team, but
again, that's not. Listen, you can't say progression because last year or the year that they made the playoffs with D'Angelo and that crew that they had, they weren't an 18. They were like a 4.
Right. I mean, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, with management, you got to look at what's going on. It's just like we would be saying the same thing if Milwaukee right now was an 18. We'd be like, yo, what's good with them? Like they shouldn't be in this position. So Brooklyn has done some things that they could have. But again, I like, you know what team I question the most in the bubble since I've seen everything go down?
What was that?
Philly. I think Philly is still. Well, is it time? And I'm still in this from Jalen Rose today. Is it time for them to break up Embiid and Ben Simmons?
Yes.
And I believe it is.
Yes. Like Philly, and I tell everybody, I said, listen, and I'm using your word. I said, don't fall for that banana tailpipe because again, Ben Simmons was already hurt, and Embiid already had some injuries. They were trying to work out the situation that they got. I know that they got Al Horford. Everybody's like, oh, you know, that's cool. I know that they got the great value J. Cole, and everybody thought that was going to be a situation. I said, listen, they are not.
Thought that was a horrible addition.
Exactly.
I thought Al Horford was a horrible addition to that team.
He just is again like why? But again, everybody's seen Ben Simmons. I mean, again, when you talking about giving people credit in teams, they're giving Philly more credit than they give OKC, and OKC out here winning. Come on, man. And then what? Ben Simmons, now he's hurt again, right?
Yeah, so he's done for the season.
He's done for the season.
Yeah.
What else is new? It's either him or Embiid. Philly has not been the same since what's that kid named Devin Noel? What's the kid out of Duke? Ever since Kentucky. What's the dude? What's his? Noel, the dude with the high top.
Oh, no, Nerlens Noel?
Nerlens Noel, yeah. And then
he played for the Thunder right now. Who he played
for? And I mean, ever since every year, remember Philly was drafting big men. It was like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you doing this? And then Markelle Fultz, Philly just stop it. Just stop.
Yeah.
And we need to stop giving them attention. But
that's a team that they need to really consider blowing up this summer. And the crazy thing with Philly and where they are and the pieces that they have, they could get great value back from other teams.
Right. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's just things that I think should happen. But
I'm
again,
talking
man,
and y'all can't hear me because I'm on mute. But I feel you though.
Yeah,
I feel
okay.
you.
Okay.
It's because
I was trying to say.
No, I was just saying, like,
go ahead,
Chris, you know, me and you talked about it. Like, I'm still not sold on Embiid. I'm not sold.
I'm not sold on it. Well, I'm not sold on him health-wise. As a talent, I do think he's talented. Health-wise, though, I'm not sold on him.
Never.
It's what I'm actually most afraid of for Zion. I'm sold on the talent for Zion.
Yes.
I'm not sold on the health. Because if you gotta, I mean, listen, they need to be cautious right now because you don't want to have it go bad long term early. At the same time, if you got to be this cautious early, it ain't a good sign. You know what I mean? Like it ain't good.
Right.
So I don't know, but to piggyback on when you was talking about the Sixers, I honestly don't think it was Nerda Noel that was the downfall for this. I think it was Jahlil Okafor. And the reason why I think it was Jahlil Okafor,
I wasn't saying him.
If you remember,
Jahlil
Okafor was averaging. No. I know what you're saying, but I'm saying I think where it went bad for them is Jahlil Okafor was averaging 2010 with them. He was averaging 2010. People forget this, but he was averaging that, and they didn't like the way. Now Jahlil don't play defense, so that is a problem. But they didn't like the way that him and Joel Embiid played together, so they just sat him on the bench. And they didn't want to trade him because they knew he was good. So they let his value keep diminishing until they literally just had to let him go for nothing. If they would have been smart, they would have said, all right, listen, we know Jahlil was a walking bucket. Let's get something for him right now and then move. That's what they should have did. And I agree with Stephen C. Ben Simmons should be on his way to Golden State, and you should be sending Wiggins to Philly and let them deal with it.
Easily. Because what's going to happen is you can force a situation like that. Say if you do let a Ben Simmons go to Golden State, you can get an Andrew Wiggins and some top picks. Because again, think about this: the Warriors draft picks this year are going to be very high.
Very high.
If I'm Philly, I'm on the. If I'm Elton Brand, I'm on the phone right now.
He ain't gonna do it though. He ain't gonna do it though.
And he's not.
Hold on. Where did he come from? What school he come from? I thought he was smart. What school he come? I'm sorry.
He came from. All right. First of all, we all know he a dookie. Okay, so we ain't gonna play that game. But
so
as a player, he's great. Okay, but we ain't gonna talk about his management skills. But look, man, it is. Listen. You want me to get excited about something? That's the two-way wing that we need in Portland.
First
of all, I don't need you to be a point guard because you can't shoot. So I don't need you to be a point guard. I got Dame. But if I can put your butt out there to defend, and you are an athletic, talented scorer, you're just not a shooter.
That's what I'm saying.
I
don't understand how, as a coach, you're looking at him and you're not saying, yo, listen, we don't need you to be a point guard. We're going to give you the ball. You're going to make it happen. Because he can make it happen. It's not a lot of people that can stop it. You know, I joke about him, but when you look at him, he has talent. But he should not be a point guard. He needs to be at the three and do it.
But here's the thing, guys, right? And we see this in the NBA a lot. Talent can always get you and maintain you in the league, but skill development is something that is needed if you're going to continue to climb whatever ladder you want for your career.
True.
Listen, Giannis know he can't shoot, but I damn sure, listen, Giannis pulls enough, well, not enough, but Giannis shoots enough to make his skill set develop at some level. Is he a three-point shooter? No, but he's not. You can't tell me in 3 years that he's taken only 20 3-pointers, and I'm giving him 20 in 3 seasons, and he don't have that. So that size and skill is only going to get you but so far. The league and the game itself is always built off of skill development, and if he can't do that, and if Joel Embiid is going to develop his skills and run from his physical gifts, then you can't have them together anymore. You just can't.
True.
And watching it, you see it. Like, yeah, Joel can get busy and it can look nice. But listen, at the end of the day, you getting 25 and 10, but those 25 came off of 12 jump shots. Instead of you getting 28 easily. Makes no sense.
So I'm just gonna say this because we are gonna wrap up in a minute. Stephen C said that Ben has court vision. He should be a guard. Yeah, but he shouldn't be shooting like he shooting guard. So that's that.
Well, look, at the way that the game is played now, I
He
can't
gotta
have a
shoot.
point guard that can't shoot. That can't shoot at all. I
But
mean,
he don't
the last point guard I remember that was just a horrible shooter was Rondo. Rondo was the last like horrible shooting point guard I can remember. That was me. And you ain't Rondo, so what we talking?
True.
Look out there.
Now, fellas, I do want to wrap it up. Like I said, we can go on, and I'm with my brother, so I'm good. Before we end, and, we got to get word from Ruck. I want to thank our sponsors, 94.3 WIBC. Chris, the rhythm of the city. And also, we definitely want to thank Inspire Rentals. Yes, check out Inspire Rentals. If you're having a party, we can help you with your party. 475-221-1598. The number is also in the description. Before we go, Chris, do you have any parting words for us, Chris? Chris, can you hear me?
Stay black.
Okay.
Stay black.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All day, every day.
All right. Ruck, we gotta.
Those are my parting words.
We gotta leave with you, man. We can't go anywhere without you giving us something. So dropping a drew. So go ahead, my brother, drop your drews, man.
Yo, so what up, people? You know what it is. And this week's version of Say Word is simple. During this time, I know everybody got a lot going on, but the word this week is real simple, man. Don't make excuses, make adjustments. Everybody got excuses. Everybody got things that we can talk about. Everybody got barriers that they got to overcome. Make an adjustment and get it done, because that's what needs to happen. And hopefully, I know today in Connecticut, hopefully people went and voted, man. Go vote. You need to have this. This is our time. Go vote. Take advantage of this opportunity, and let's do something, man. Let's make some real change. But again, don't make excuses. Make adjustments. Let's go, people. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. On that note, man, thanks again for tuning to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, The Ruck Report. Cheers.
Peace.